Got it.
You got it? Okay. All right, we have a meeting. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Nice to have you join us tonight.
Good.
So, roll call, we have Frank.
Joe Allen.
and Angie Rohr. And recorder is Bob Goldsberry.
Okay, that's a clear photo. That's good. I can see well.
Okay, we can't see you if you want to turn your video on.
Okay.
Would you do the pledge of
There we go.
I'd be happy to.
Got my Dixie tie on. Just got out of the Capitol building. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We got you just fine.
That's
Okay.
nice and loud. So, we'll, I'll give the invocation and Joel will the pledge of allegiance.
So just speak into the mic.
Is this better? Can you hear me
Yeah, you'll
now?
have to speak into the mic so I can hear you.
Okay. Oh Lord our God, we just give thanks and praise for your holiness and for all the blessings that you bestow on us. I just ask that you guide our thoughts, words, and deeds in the meeting tonight, and we just ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. The audience, please rise for pledge of allegiance. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
I do.
Hey, Frank. Frank, can you hear me?
Right.
You're gonna be better off down there.
I think so. Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
We're getting some awful feedback on our end. You have your computer microphone right next to the air conditioning unit or something?
No, it's, I don't have anything on next to it. So
Okay.
it must be something that you have in your system
Could be a
that's a microphone or something, because I can hardly hear you. I don't.
You can't hear us?
I can't hear you very well, but you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, you're nice and clear.
I'm going to switch this up so he's closer to us. Frank, I'm not going to let you see the rest of the audience.
Okay, well, then I'll say hi to them. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming tonight.
Everybody's waiting.
That'll probably help because you won't get the feedback from the other mic, probably.
That's probably true. So, any abstentions or conflicts?
None for me.
No.
None? Okay. Our consent agenda, can I have a vote on that?
Actually,
Or a motion?
I come back to that
Okay.
abstentions or conflicts.
Okay,
Regarding action item number 8A,
okay,
the Silbury Foundation, I will be a member of that foundation, so any voting that were to take place, if it came to anything like that, I would be abstaining from any vote.
okay. Okay, the minutes from February 13th, any corrections or additions or subtractions?
None for me.
Okay, can we have a vote for, motion to approve or the consent agenda?
Frank, can you hear us okay?
Motion to approve the consent agenda, including tonight's agenda and the meeting minutes from the 13th.
I have a feeling if you just talk to the computer, you can probably hear
Is that the
better.
sound you guys are hearing?
No, we're not hearing a sound. Can you hear now?
Oh, I can hear, but I hear something like a spinning wheel, so I didn't know if it was.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing from time to time.
But not right now.
Okay, all right.
I move that we approve tonight's consent agenda, consisting of tonight's agenda and the meeting minutes of February 13th, 2013.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Under announcements, I would say, I'd like to give a lot of thanks to Alan, not only for all of his previous service, but for being here tonight and helping us with the Skype and setting everything up with Cameron. Oops, recording. I was supposed to press something. Okay. Okay, the red button.
In all the movies, you're never supposed to hit the red button.
Start over.
Yep. Okay. So the consent agenda has been approved, and under announcements, when they give thanks to Alan for all of his many years of dedication to the town and many hours and hours, and for being here tonight to help us with this.
I agree.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if anybody has young kids, but we do have some new playground equipment. The swing sets have been updated, and I understand from Antonio that the kids love the tetherball. They're beating it to death. So that's good. One of the things that I would like to have done is have a monthly talk, have speakers come in and do some sort of presentation. So if anybody has any ideas that, something that you would like to hear, one that I thought might come to mind is to have someone come and do a presentation on the Utah Advanced Healthcare Directives. Even if you're only 21 years old, it's a good idea to give some consideration to this. And for those of us who are older, it's important information. So I thought I would ask somebody to come and do a presentation on that. If anyone has any ideas, something that you would like to hear, please let us know. Okay, do you have any announcements?
No announcements from me.
I had a very interesting call this week from a businessman in California who would like to close down his shop in California and move to Leeds. He loves the area, he would like to live here, and if he can find a place and make the money happen, it would be a 20,000 square foot facility on about 3 to 4 acres to start with, and he would expect to employ 10 people, and several of them are fairly high-paying jobs. He doesn't think his current employees will be coming with him. He has already talked to Hurricane and has not found them very helpful, so and he particularly would like to live here in Leeds and be close to his work. So that's something that we're looking for. It is a light manufacturing, and it would employ some welding, an air wrench, sawing. These would be the kind of noises. He is planning on building a masonry building that would be well insulated to protect from sound. And anyway, it looks like it would be a good fit maybe if we can find a place that's not right next to a residential area, like in a commercial zone, and if he can find the correct financing that he needs to do that. Just wanted to let you know that there are some things out there on that economic horizon that look better. We have Daryl Nelson is being appointed to the Planning Commission, and then we have 2 other applicants, Peter Aragama and Breitbart has put their names in, and so we'll be looking to appoint one more person, and out of the two, and one alternate. And then we can still have another alternate if there's anyone else out there that would be interested in putting their name in for consideration. So please keep that in mind. Okay, let's see. There are no public hearings tonight. Under action items, we have a presentation on the Silver Reef Foundation. And Joe will be leading us off on that, and I understand that Loanne and Ron Kundig are part of that, and
Hey Joe, ask Frank to lower his camera.
Hey Frank,
Yeah,
can you point your camera down just a little bit? We're looking at your forehead.
yeah, I moved away from, where my print was, but it's you guys, so probably you need to put, and I can go back where I was, if you put this away from, directly to the phone. That's why you're getting that sound back and forth. So,
We'll get you put away from the microphones.
and then if everybody will just speak directly into the mic, then I can hear fine.
okay.
I'm just getting a whistling, and
So as I imagine most of you know, if not everyone, the Silver Reef Museum has been closed for some months at this time, and we do have a number of visitors keep coming out wishing that they could see it as they tour around the area. And so a group of citizens have put some energy into seeing what they can do about it, and they're calling that the Silver Reef Foundation at this point. There we go.
Are you getting that noise on your end, Frank?
yeah,
Okay. We are too.
yeah, I don't know what's causing it. Sometimes we've not had any trouble.
It goes away when you're speaking.
That's true.
You just need to talk the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, you want to lead off, Joe?
Be happy to. We've got a group of individuals here. Ron, would you like to give the rundown, or shall I?
Your call.
Okay, I'd be happy to explain a little bit of what the Silver Reef Foundation is. The Silver Reef Foundation is a group of private individuals. Here, most of the individuals residents of Leeds, a handful who are not. We've been disappointed with the museum being closed. And we're not pointing fingers at anybody, but we just want to see the museum open. It's an asset to Leeds, it's an asset to Washington County, and truly to the world. One of only 2 places in the world that silver was found in sandstone. And we want to see the museum open. We want to see this heritage preserved. I happen to live very close to the museum, and every day I drive by and I see people getting out of their cars, walking around, walking right up to the museum, and it's boarded shut, and I personally feel it reflects poorly upon the town. And so this small group of individuals has banded together, approached the Washington County Commissioners. The status of the museum is that the property, the building itself, and the entire collection of artifacts are owned by the county. Little history on the operation of it. The county doesn't want to be involved with day-to-day management operations of the museum. So there has previously been a group, a board of directors who got banded together to run the museum. Unfortunately, there have been some very unfortunate circumstances that have led to the closing of the museum. the lease, this group had a lease in place with the county to run the museum. That lease had since expired. And so our small group of citizens got together and approached the county and said, hey, you need to take that, Frank? I don't think you can.
If I go hold the computer, will that help?
I don't think so. So our small group got together. We're calling ourselves the Silver Reef Foundation. The Silver Reef Foundation approached the county commissioners and asked, what are your intentions? Are you going to renew that lease with this current group, or can we sign a lease with you? We'd like to see the museum open. We've drafted a plan of action of how we're going to get it open, how we're going to raise funds. Let's face it, it'd be nice to have it open, but it takes money to do so. And so this meeting took place with the county commissioners last week. And in that meeting, they appeared to express support for the idea. There's some political issues that are being faced before they can officially contract with the Silver Reef Foundation to get the museum open. But that's the direction it's headed. The reason that the Silver Reef Foundation is approaching the town tonight is that it's going to take money to run this organization. The foundation is not approaching the town for money, but the foundation is a nonprofit organization. But there's a timeline to establish a nonprofit corporation with the federal government to become a 501c3 corporation. I'm not an attorney. I don't know the exact process, but I've heard it's lengthy. It can take 6 months to a year to become a 501c3. He just turned his volume off.
So,
Yeah,
can I ask a question, or are you still?
Yeah, go ahead.
listening?
go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so I'm only getting part of this, Joe. So what you're proposing is a new foundation, and then the foundation that's called Silver Reef Monument, that's a 501c. So have you visited with them?
The county commissioners have visited with them. Informally, members of our organization, the Silver Reef Foundation, have approached the Silver Reef Monument, the current board. It seems as if all parties are supportive of this movement.
So why would it, if the other board's not functional, then why would it just not be that you just have new appointed people like yourself and others to be on the board and just use that same 501c?
Frank has a conflict.
The real reason is there is a lawsuit faced, or that current 501c3, that current board is faced with. And
Frank has a conflict of interest on this. He should not be involved.
I appreciate the comment.
He was a member of the other board,
Was.
and is.
Frank, are you a current member of that board?
No.
Thank you.
It's not what the legal paperwork says.
The reason to create a new board, as we have proposed this, is there is current litigation that board is faced with that is preventing the museum from being open today. And we're looking to get the museum open. That's the goal that we're coming with.
So the real issue really is that the county owns the land, and so it would be in their, they would decide whether they wanted to have another organization run it or not.
That's right.
That's really the bottom line.
That's correct. The reason
So
we're here.
what are you asking of the council?
Exactly. What we're asking of the council is we have an interim period between now and 6 months to a year down the road when the Silvery Foundation obtains 501c3 status with the government. So this all comes down to donations. We're going to be asking for donations from different organizations, private individuals, from people that come up to the museum and say, hey, we love this, here's $5, keep going, you're doing a great job. And without that 501c3 status, we cannot call those donations tax deductible. This is really as a benefit to potential donors. We're asking the town to step in the interim period to accept donations, to earmark those donations, and then send them back through to the Silvery Foundation. That's what we're asking of the town. Does that make sense, Ray?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I guess we'd probably have to check with our legal counsel, because the issue would be that if someone donates to the town for through a tax write-off, and then we give it to an organization that's not a nonprofit, I'm not sure how that works through. I guess we just have to find out the technical issues.
I have talked to Heath Snow about the situation, and he didn't really have a problem with it, other than that until, as long as the people who were donating money prior to the time, it's a 501c, prior to the time that has the nonprofit tax exempt status. It can be a nonprofit within a week, and making it that part. But the tax exempt status, that if someone donates, there isn't necessarily a guarantee that the IRS is going to approve that part. So as long as they understand that going in, that may be a problem.
Luann?
I would just like to mention that there's already a model for this. For several years, Martha and I have been getting CLG grants for the town of Leeds.
We'd like to have people at the mic, so it gets recorded.
I was just going to say that there's a precedent for this issue, because for several years, Martha and I have been applying for CLG grants for the town of Leeds, in which the town of Leeds has been a pass-through for historical preservation for the CLG monies. And in terms of individuals donating, I have donated several times to different historical projects to the town of Leeds, in which I've always used tax write-offs without any problem with the IRS. So I just wanted to make you aware of that issue.
Thank you, Luann.
Yeah.
Ron, you had a comment? Wonderful.
So I understand there is a little difference in that you are a historical society or a historical committee for the town, though,
Yes, we have been. Yeah, we have been.
rather than a separate.
Oh, no, the Silvery Foundation is separate. I was just talking about the history of the Historical Preservation Committee that we applied for and got CLG grants for the town of Leeds.
And some of that money has been used, for other projects than something that the town of Leeds owns. For example, the interpretive signs at the Wells Fargo Silver Reef Monument, in fact. And we didn't make that as officially a donation to that monument, but the money that was donated came to the town, and then we used it on another property that was not owned by the town.
And also, even before CLG grants, remember we got the UDOT grant, and we ran out of money for the UDOT grant, so we went back to the state and they gave us some additional funding, but that money was based on the fact of raising money in the town of Leeds. I think we raised $21,000 for to make that UDOT grant finally operable. Now, this was back when Nora Geyer and Mayor Law were in charge of the town, but that's also an example of where the county accepted donation so we could keep this historic preservation moving along over several years.
And so that's why I was interested in doing that, because I'd like to see this moving ahead. I'd like to see the museum open, and we have increased visitors up there. And it seemed like we had an example set, but there's some technicalities, but our legal advice indicated that didn't see a real problem with it, other than there may not be a guarantee that donations prior to the status would be counted by the IRS.
Yeah, we would see this, and this is all a great big if. I mean, the county is the final decider in this fact. And so we just wanted to be prepared in case, they gave us a nod.
Frank, any more questions?
Frank?
Frank, any more questions?
Hey, Frank,
Yes.
do you have any additional questions?
No.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the issue? So, at this point, we really don't have anything to vote on.
Correct.
Weren't sure when we put it on the agenda, just put it as an action item in case we did have something, but we don't at this point. I just wanted everybody to be aware of what's happening and the interest in it.
This was on an action item. Is there some reason why the three of you could say yes or no to us down the road? I mean, for now. I mean,
Honestly,
we would like to
it's-
be able to say that if in fact this is a go with the county, that the town of Leeds would be able to let us use this temporarily as a way to get the museum open, get some money to get the museum open. That's what you're.
I don't know that it requires council approval, and maybe our mayor would have a comment, maybe Mayor Roberts would also provide some advice, but I believe this could simply be an administrative decision.
Oh, okay. Good enough.
So,
Frank, would you have any insight to that?
Well, I could be wrong on this, but I mean, if a foundation is established and they receive the 501c, and the county recognizes them as the agency that they want to run the museum and the number of acres that are up there as the guardian of that, then all the real question would be is if our attorney was to interpret to say, if someone donates money to the town of Leeds and the city council decides they would like to give some of that money to the museum or to do some activity up there, as long as our attorney can prove that that does not create a problem, then there really wouldn't be any need for the city council to do an action item on it, because it would just be like we'd be approving any budget item if we wanted to spend money on something.
Yeah.
well, if we spend more than 500, don't we need to have a vote on it? That's my understanding.
I think the key part is that if the county commissioners approve a designated group to operate for them, and they sign that contract, I think that's, where the legal part is.
Yeah.
It doesn't really involve the town.
Well, taking a step aside as a representative of the Silvery Foundation, I think actually it would be a good idea to have some form of formal support from the town. This might assist us in going to the county commissioners and in our effort to obtain the lease and their blessing to run the museum. We could say, yes, the town in fact has said we can pass money through the town in this interim period before we obtain our nonprofit status as a corporation. So could I ask that myself abstaining from this vote, but could I ask for a vote of support for this idea?
I'm trying to remember if we need three positive votes, or just 2 out of the 3. I can't remember.
Isn't there already a historic preservation account inside the town of Leeds?
I believe there is. Bob?
I think
Yeah.
I mean, it already exists, the account already exists, and it probably even still has some money in it from our last CLG interaction.
$200.
Yeah. So in theory, any funds that are donated could be donated into the town's historic preservation account and pass through to the Silver Foundation.
I'm just feeling that if we are gonna do a vote, I would rather wait until we have at least 3 votes. So hopefully Nate will be here next week, and hopefully we will have a new council person filling the slot. We do have a good applicant so far. So, anything else on this tonight? Did anybody else have anything you wanted to say? Any other information? Okay. Moving on to number 9, discussion items. 9A is about the Princess Pageant, and we have Roxanne Lewis, who has stepped forward to chair that committee and be a strong, I think, probably good leadership role for the pageant and for the girls that will participate in it. And her daughter, Katie, we'd love to hear from you also.
Hello. I'm grateful that I have opportunity to serve. I always am. The Princess Pageant is near and dear to my heart. McKay's my second daughter that's been involved in the pageant, and there's a lot of learning and growth that happens with the girls in the pageant. In the past, names have been drawn out of a hat, and that's not a lot of fun, but it's also not very, it doesn't give the girls a chance to really learn anything. I'm excited to have the opportunity to teach the girls things, not me personally, but we've got a committee that is getting together. We have 9 girls without even advertising that are interested in the pageant already.
I can't hear.
Speak as closely to the mic, straight on as you can.
So we've got 9 girls that are interested in the Princess Pageant. They're all excited, and that's without any advertising. Just girls knowing that the pageant usually happens and are excited to want to do it. Some of the stuff that's happened in the past, I hope to rectify in the disappointment category by being a lot more professional in the pageant process. Before, it's been run by the seat of the pants a lot of times, which, you know, can get a lot of girls upset and their parents. I've just recently, yesterday, got the actual county guidelines for the pageant, and it's 52 pages of guidelines for the county pageants that are run by the towns. So there are a lot of guidelines that haven't been followed that I would like to put in place so that it's more professional and it's done well. Something in the past, I know the town has allotted money for the pageant, but the previous directors have used their own money, and so the town doesn't understand the true cost of what a pageant is. And so that's, were you able to get some of this stuff in their packets for the?
Yeah.
These are just drafts, and I tried to stay very lean on the budget, but if we don't do a scholarship pageant, then it comes to just over $1,000 for the process. If we do a scholarship, there's a lot more that can be done for the girls, because they would be then obligated to do service projects for the money that is given to them by the town to give service to the town for the time that they're in their reign. It's an option.
Frank, can you hear?
it's an option for many towns to give the girls a scholarship, and then, because of that scholarship, include them in a lot of town activities, start service projects that will benefit the community. I'm gonna turn just a minute over to McKatie so she can kind of tell you a little about her experience, and I'll continue.
Before you do, traditionally, what is that scholarship amount?
It really varies.
Okay.
You want to get nitty gritty. The Princess usually is $1,000, but obviously I haven't done that. I've kept it very modest. And then it graduates down for attendant and second attendant. So if you go to some of the other towns, it starts at $1,000.
Okay.
But, you know, I would like to build up to something a little more than what I proposed.
Sure.
But I think it's a start. But it gives the girls a sense of responsibility as well. They have to earn it, if you want to say that. But it gives them a place to start with being able to be good representatives of Leeds.
Absolutely.
Really close to the mic, please.
I was just asked to say a little bit about my experience. I wanted to run.
I'm gonna hang up and call in on my iPad with Skype and see if it's better.
Okay,
Because I can't hear.
okay.
Okay, thanks.
Let's just pause for a moment while we wait for him.
So what do I do? Just,
He'll be calling. We can trade places if you want.
okay. Just when I got ready to turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Quiet it down.
Just do the camera.
So come on, please.
I wanted to run as Leeds Princess because I wanted to have the experience of working with the town and having a bigger role in the community. While being princess, I got to see the inner workings of how the town plans and executes community events. I learned that in order to make something great happen in the town, to need multiple people
Is that
and
better?
plenty of teamwork.
Much better.
Yeah, I'm not getting that. I can see really well on this iPad, okay. All right, thank you. Much better.
So Frank, we have Katie Lewis, who is a princess for last year,
Right.
speaking.
Yeah, I'm in favor of supporting the pageant. I think they do a good job, and I appreciate her interest. Several of the young ladies in town through the past years have participated, and I think it's a great effort on their part. I'd be supportive of it. I know my daughter and several of her other friends were in it many, many years ago.
I had the opportunity to help at the county fair last year, and I loved working with the volunteers and the people who entered the fair. When I was in the pageant last year, I got told that the young girls would see the princess and that they would point her out and look up to her. I knew that they were probably right, but I couldn't really imagine it happening. But when I was at the fair and I had my crown and banner on, little girls would look at me and they'd want to talk to me. And I could tell that they were really watching me. I realized that the title of princess also came with responsibility, hard work, and the need to be a good example. I am so glad that I had the opportunity to participate and to gain the knowledge that I acquired from my experience as the Princess of Leeds.
Thank you,
That's
Ms.
fantastic. Thank you.
So I guess my question is, the town wants a princess pageant, yes? Okay, and I guess because the money isn't as much in the budget as has been, I guess there needs to be some either yes or no on the additional monies available, and whether or not you want to make it a scholarship pageant.
So, we don't have it as an action item tonight.
Right.
But there is $750 currently in the budget,
Mm-hmm.
for you to get going with it. And, I do want to emphasize that Roxanne and I have spoken, and I'm very much in agreement. This is not about a beauty pageant. It is about a building in self-confidence, and in past years there's been some problems, but I think the extensive rules and the contract that both the girls and the parents will have to sign if they're entering this will go a long ways to mitigating any of the problems that there's been in the past. So we will maybe look at doing this 2 weeks from now or
On the action items. Okay.
action item.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, discussion of, B is a discussion formation of a 3-person committee to finalize codifications. If you're not familiar with what codification is, that's what allows us to be up to speed more on having our public records available to the public and to the office, so that we are working in the 21st century instead of off paper all the time. And I think we have one volunteer so far for that. I don't know for sure, but we could really use at least 2 more people who would be dedicated to spending some hours looking through the questions that have been presented by the company that we've contracted with and who have started the codification process. This has been, well, let's see, more than 3 years ago in process. And so we really need to move that along and to use some people who are willing to look at that.
If we can't find volunteers for that in the next couple of weeks, what do you think about putting it in the upcoming trash bill? Put that in the newsletter.
That goes out the 1st of March, so I plan on 1st of April.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be nice to have something going before then, but yes. Not just that, but then discussion item C, along the same line.
Yeah, while we're on the subject though, would anybody here in the audience be interested in serving the town as a volunteer to assist with the codification process? Wayne?
Yeah, if I could also speak to it.
Yeah.
It sounds like you'd like me by the microphone.
Please.
That way it gets recorded.
Yes, Wayne Peterson. I would be willing to work on that type of an effort. I will tell you from previous experience with it, although there were companies that were helping us with the process, we learned that we had to do 100% of the work if we really wanted to make sure that it was accurate and consistent, and that we didn't just move forward something that actually had conflicts in it. And conflicts are a horrible thing, because whenever there's a problem, you're going to have people coming forward and liking to point to that which favors them the most, as opposed to having a consistent set of documents that would allow you to really handle any situation that would arise. So I'd be happy to be involved with it, but I would not want to just try to answer a few questions that might have come up. I'd want to be involved in a process that made sure we'd done a thorough job and that we had consistent information that was going forward through this process.
And that's what we need, is professionalism. Thank you for volunteering. So we still will need 2 more people.
Would there be any other volunteers? Please, Ron.
Ron Kendrick. I'd be willing to work on that committee with Wayne. The only concern I have right now is similar to what he expressed, and that is that there are some conflicts in the ordinances. And I think that committee's charter would have to be also to recommend any changes they felt were appropriate to the town council, and not just blindfolded go down and codify everything without. If they find some things they think needed a review by the town council, they would have the ability to raise that for appropriate action by the town council. So when we get to the final product, we've got something that we feel is solid. Those are the conditions I would like to have to work under, and not just codify whatever's on the books right now without looking at it in that context.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Anyone else?
Wayne, Ron, thank you.
Yes. Then another committee that's very important is to update our zoning map. So we need at least three people who would be willing to sit down and work that up so that we can get a correct map showing the actual zoning here in Leeds. So this would be very important.
What would the process be here? Just sitting down with a map of the town and start drawing things, or taking an existing map and expanding it?
The existing map is fairly old, and it has some problems with it, and we have done some changes in zoning, so it would need to be looking at records and making sure that was the zoning that was down in our records.
I'll volunteer to be on that committee.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
What's your name, sir?
Ronald Whitmer, Whitmer.
Anyone else? Paul?
Yes.
Thank you. Paul Dinsley?
Last name?
Dinsley? Did I get it right?
You did.
So that is a good start, and we'll see what we can flesh that out with and get going on it. We would also like to have a few other committees reestablished that have been inactive. One, the emergency preparedness committee, and the cultural.
Cultural beautification.
I was trying to think what the other word was. Yes, cultural and beautification committee, which could oversee and generate the enthusiasm for participation in the various activities that we do throughout the year. So, do we have any citizen comments? Bob?
No.
No?
Angie, I
Yes.
would also like to help with that Wild West Days. If you put me down on that.
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Sounds like a wild time to me.
We certainly don't want to repeat of last year. So we would need a strong committee of people who are interested in working on that. But thank you very much for putting me forward. Any staff reports? Okay. For treasurer, is it possible that we can get some kind of a treasurer's report on our financial status? Would that be you or?
Bob, you and I could probably work on that together.
Okay. It would be good if we could have that next meeting.
Okay.
Because it's been a little while since we looked at that. And another committee that I have been hoping we could set up would be a budget committee to get more citizen input earlier on in the budgeting process. So we'll use our mailing 1st of April to generate some more interest in all of these committees and put postings at the post office and see what we can do. And if you could talk to any of your friends and neighbors about it, that would be helpful. Frank, do you have a,
Yes,
on the roads?
I do, and we just started the first phase of this road project that we've kind of put on hold, and now we've opened it back up. And so down on Babylon, there was a stretch of the road that had paving, and then down to Sterling's property, before you got to their property, it was basically dirt. And with the help of Sterling, they spread out the gravel. We hired a contractor to bring in the gravel for that road. And then we have in the city limits going in front of Frank Jackson's property, we have that to do, and then Cactus Road. And then we've got to do some of the gravel on the side of the roads before we start doing the paving. And I noticed that Martha Hand was there. I don't know if she's still in.
No, she's gone.
She is, or she isn't?
She has left.
Oh, she's left. But, and up there, those neighbors are going to have to meet when I get back, decide where they want those speed humps to be placed, and then we have the pavement to put around on the roundabout up there. We want to make sure that with Chief Lewis that their fire truck can turn around in that space. And then we've got several other paving and sealing projects throughout the town.
Hey, Frank?
And then we've got, yes.
What space is it you're talking about, the roundabout or the fire truck turning around? Is this at the end of Oak Grove Road?
Yeah.
Past
Yes.
the bridge?
No. It's part of Leeds.
It's the turnaround up there.
When you're going straight down Oak Grove Road,
It's on Oak Grove, but it's between
Martha Hayes.
Ham's and property and Glenn Morgan's property
I know.
there. It's a turnaround where the school buses used to go up and turn around.
Okay. That's big enough to turn a school bus around?
Yep, they've been doing it, although, I'd say for this school year, they are using High Desert.
Yeah.
Right. The critical part of having that area as a turnaround, there is no place really, if someone goes beyond that point, it's very hard for them to turn around unless they're going to go up into some of the private roads or private property, or go on further up into Oak Grove. It's hard for a vehicle of that size to move about. So,
Yeah.
No.
so that's just that update.
And I think you said that, with some of the roads like Cactus Lane, that because it's dirt, we currently don't get any state funds for it.
Right, so we'll get some credit for
Gravel.
We get more credit, of course, for the paved and improved roads, but we'll get some credit for that.
My wife says that 900 North is being paved. That's what she reported to me today.
Really?
The road going out to Kevin Lee's. Does Frank know about it?
Frank, do you know anything about 900 North getting paved?
I don't know where 900 North is.
That would be the,
Babylon Road going down to the.
Go past Kevin Lee.
down toward Kevin Lee's property, the dirt road, the county road that goes toward,
Grapevine.
Oh, well, you have pavement that goes, and then it stops, and it was dirt down, all the way down to Sterling's property. That was gravelled.
He's thinking
No.
there.
yeah, we're talking about a different road, we're talking
Oh,
about,
you're talking about the other bad.
The other map.
Yeah.
The one that goes down towards Grapevine.
I don't know if
That would be county.
I don't know how much of that's in our city limits.
okay.
Anybody else driven by it? My wife
Yeah,
said she
I
drove by it today.
It's not on our schedule.
It's being paved now.
That's what she said. She drove by it today.
Okay.
It's county road.
I'll check it out tomorrow.
It is a county road.
Yeah, it's
That's
county.
it.
I move that we adjourn.
Okay, I second that.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Frank.
you.
You have a good night.
Okay, thanks for your patience with Skype. All right, good night. night.
Thank you.
Good night.